ॐ सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम् ॐ Namaste, all of you. Welcome back to our continuing study of Shrimad Bhagawad Geetha from the pages of Poojya Swamiji's, Poojya Swami Dayananda Saraswati's Gita home study course. In these sessions, we are together exploring chapter 2 of Shrimad Bhagawad Geetha titled Sankhya Yoga. Sankhya Yoga, the topic of knowledge. The topic of knowledge. As Swami Paramarthananda oft recalls, there are 5 topics that are covered in the shlokas of Srimad Bhagavad Gita, and those 5 topics are Karma Yoga, Upasana Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Bhakti, and Sadgunaha. Karma Yoga, Upasana Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Bhakti, and Sadgunaha. These are the 5 topics that Srimad Bhagavad Gita deals with. Having said so, if we may ask the question of the Gita as to what is the main thrust in your teachings, Gita Mata will say, I primarily focus on Moksha Shastra. My words are meant to reveal your intrinsic higher Ananda Swarupa. I am responsible to bless you with discovering your moksha nature, your already liberated nature. That is what my words are primarily meant for. This would be her answer. At the same time, she would say, to achieve jnana yogyata, to become a competent student, you need to undergo training. You need to attend my tutorial college, in which I will teach you what Karma Yoga is, what Upasana Yoga is, what Bhakti is, and what Sadgunas are. All these are important. They are Sahakari Sadhananis. The aid that is required to enable me, enable you, she says, to sponge up the teachings of your Guru and Shastra. She says, it's so nice to actually study Shrimad Bhagawad Geetha in this mode, as if you're talking to a mother who is so caring, the Veda Mata, Shrimad Bhagawad Geetha. After all, she is Bhavadveshini. So she says, while Jnana Yoga is the Sakshat Karanam, Karma Yoga, Upasana Yoga, Bhakti, and Sadgunas are the Sahakari Sadhanani. Jnana Yoga is the direct means, the rest are the indirect means. Both of them are important. Without Karma, Upasana, Bhakti, and Sadgunas, Jnana is impossible. At the same time, without Jnana Yoga, Karma, Upasana, Bhakti, and Sadgunas are incomplete. So she says, having said this much, she says, I taught through Lord Krishna, through the words of Lord Krishna, the Jagat Guru. From the beginning of this chapter, from the 11th shloka, the first teaching shloka of Shrimad Bhagavad Geetha, the all important Jnana Yoga. And then I progressed on to the topic, equally important topic, the first Sahakari Sadhanam of Karma Yoga, clearly defining it in this 47th shloka that we are studying under the guidance of our dear Poojya Swamiji, Poojya Swami Dayananda Saraswathi. We were looking at how Lord Krishna squarely defined Karma Yoga and also brought out the important teaching of our Vedas about the presence of Ishvara and his function as the Karma Phala Data. We were looking at The attitude of a bhakta, the attitude of a bhakta towards the karma phala that he receives, no matter what the karma phala is. Whatever the karma phala is, I confront Ishvara, whatever it is. We've seen all these portions, but I wish to touch upon some important areas before we take our study forward. Poojya Swamiji said, when you open your mouth to talk, when your tongue is able to produce the words that tumble out one after the other, it is because Ishvara is at work. Since every result comes from Ishvara, you take it as a prasada. A Sanskrit word that does not have an exact English equivalent. Swamiji said the word grace has a somewhat intangible connotation, whereas prasada covers both the tangible results and the intangible, the grace, Ishvara Anugraha. Poojya Swamiji said a dieting person may refuse a laddu, but not when he knows that it is from Tirupati Venkateshwara. And what converted the laddu into prasada? The tangible laddu becomes prasada because the person now knows it comes from the Lord. Therefore, what converts a karma phala into a prasada is purely your recognition that it comes from the Lord. It is not just a statement, it is seeing, it is internalizing, it is understanding. This is where the word experience can be used, if at all, said Poojya Swamiji. It is a way of looking at the whole thing. Recognition that Ishvara is the karma phala data converts every karma phala into a prasada. Therefore, prasada is not an object, it is a way of looking at the object that is received. Ishvara prasada bhavana. Prasada is purely symbolic, as we saw. If a person with diabetes eats laddus, his blood sugar levels will definitely rise. Not because he is eating prasada, but because he is eating laddus. Prasada is an attitude, a way of looking at an object, which itself is born of understanding that it comes from the Lord. Anything, any experience, not necessarily a laddu alone, any experience that you come face to face with is a result that Ishvara gives us by processing all the karmas that we have deposited in the universal bank, in his universal bank. Not only in this Janma, friends, but in the zillions of Janmas that we have lived in the past. Therefore, prasada can be anything: a fruit, leaf, sugar crystal, laddu, or even a child. Because in India, a child is looked upon as prasada. There are many people who are named as prasad. Anything that comes to you as karma phala, as a gift from the altar of Ishvara, is prasada. They are sometimes named Ishwar Prasad or Bhavani Prasad, Guru Prasad, etc. Anything that comes to you as karma phala, as a gift from the altar of Ishvara, is prasada, which includes the attitude with which you receive it, the bhavana with which you receive it. Receiving it bowing down, receiving it with both palms opened. Prasada is not received and cast away disrespectfully. It is received in a certain manner. A certain body language is involved. It is this prasada, then, that brings about samatva, sameness of mind. This prasada buddhi, this prasada bhavana brings about samatvam of the mind, sameness of the mind. Everything is looked at as prasada. There's only one approach, nothing else. So when you constantly train your mind to look at something in a particular manner, the mind settles down. Once everything is prasada, you have nothing really to complain about. Nothing to complain about. You have only something to learn. You have only something to learn. Therefore, when the karma phala comes, you take it as prasada. If it is more than you wanted, you take it as prasada. If it is less than what you wanted, it is still prasada. And if it is exactly what you wanted, opposite to what you wanted, or different from what you wanted, it is still prasada. As every karma phala comes, there is sameness in your reception of the karma phala. Beautiful. How does one develop samatva? This is how one does it. This is what Krishna is saying here when he tells Arjuna not to be the cause of karma phala. The karma phala hetu is Ishvara, not Arjuna. Arjuna is the cause of action. Karmani eva adhikaraste. But not the cause of its results. Not the cause of its results. Further, Krishna said, Akarmani sangaha ma astu. Akarmani sangaha ma astu. Let there be no attachment to inaction. Let there be no attachment to inaction. Action itself is not the problem. Action itself is not the problem. It is your response to the result of action that is the problem. Action itself is not the problem. It is your response to the result of action that is the problem. Underline these two sentences permanently in your minds, friends. Thus, inaction here means fear of action. Not of action as such, but the fear that the results you want will not come. Thus, inaction here means fear of action, not of action as such, but fear that the results you want will not come. Even before you begin doing an action, you expect to fail. Therefore, Krishna told Arjuna that karma itself is not binding. Karma itself is not binding. Nor does karma phala bind. Karma itself is non binding, nor does karma phala bind. It is a response to the karma phala. It is the response to the karma phala that makes karma seem like a bondage. Another box item. It is an instruction that has to be deeply seated in our minds. Karma itself is not binding, nor does karma phala bind. It is the response to the karma phala that makes karma seem like a bondage. Thus, let there be love for action. Let there be love for action. But let the results be received by you as prasada. That will result in samatva, sameness of mind. Let there be love for action, but let the results be received by you as prasada. With this, friends, we bring to a close our study and exploration of this important shloka number 47 of chapter 2. We will move on to shloka 48 in the upcoming capsules. Until then, Hari Om.